Okay, so we're going to talk about Marriage Bootcamp, Episode 8, Love and Behold. And I'm going to try to go through this quickly because it is Cowbear's birthday. You know who that is. That's my bodyguard. So it's his birthday. I told him I'd come out for a little bit, so I need to hurry up and find something to wear. All right, the episode starts with Sean and Catherine arguing, and well, this is a first because it usually starts off with Benzino and Althea arguing. So Sean and Catherine stole the spotlight, and you remember from episode 2 or 3 where they did like the little boxing ring thing, and they said that they used different words instead of cuss words like fudge and just really random words, right? Instead of cussing, which clearly we see when they get angry and they fight that they do use cuss words because they were both cussing at one another. He calls her, where's my wife? The soulless woman is here, and we finally see a real argument between them two. Okay, so in the first exercise on this episode, they want us to admit what we don't like about ourselves, and maybe they shouldn't have said it the way they said it because they said, well, write what you hate about yourself. I think it would have been a lot less harsh if they said, well, name some things that you want to work on or you think you should improve on or traits that you not necessarily like. And I think that's why one of the reasons that Ink pushed so far against doing this exercise, because he's like, I love myself, I'm perfect, I'm this, I'm that. If it was something a little bit less harsh as hate, because like what he believes in and stuff like that, I mean, I know how to translate the word. Like, I don't hate those things about myself. Do I dislike them? Do I want to approve them? Yes. So I think he was taking the word hate, like, in the context of what he thinks hate is, and that's one of the reasons that he did not want to do this challenge. So then Jim basically says this drill is for self-acceptance, and I can accept who I am. I know my character flaws, and it's things that I've been trying to work on. Okay, so Elizabeth says Ink doesn't mind telling others what is wrong with them, so he doesn't have to deal with his own issues, and it's distracting from his own pain. I completely agree with that. You then see a scene of Sugar Bear saying the same thing, like he wants to give his opinion about everybody, but he wants to act like he's so damn perfect and not say anything about himself. And of course, I believe Althea has said this before, and so has Catherine. And I completely agree that he just does not want to admit what is wrong with him. Which, the first step of, not denial, the first step to improving yourself, whatever, is to basically overcome denial and admit what's wrong with you so you know what to fix. Okay, so Ink is like basically pouting in this scene. He's saying that this drill isn't for him, but this one I think is especially for him. And he's saying this is the most secure I feel in my life and all this other stuff. And that's the whole, he can't admit that he's wrong. Everybody else did the challenge, said what they didn't like about themselves. And I feel like he was just being stubborn at this point. All right, so and I wrote this down because even Sean and Catherine did the drill. They're trying to act like they're so perfect this entire time. They got a perfect relationship, which of course the real argument came out. They were cussing at one another, whatever else. So if Sean and Catherine, who Ink and the rest of the house accused of being fake and putting on like this perfect relationship, and he says they're putting on a perfect relationship, well, if they think they're perfect the way Ink thinks he's perfect, then they would have a perfect relationship. So for you to claim that you're perfect and you know there's flaws about you, like, quit saying that you're perfect because you're accusing Sean and Catherine of not having a perfect relationship as well. All right, so then Ink blames Elizabeth and David for judging him, and he says that he doesn't care what they think, but clearly he cares what they think. He always says that, like, I don't care what they think, I don't care, whatever, but you wouldn't be getting mad and arguing with Sunday. You wouldn't be getting upset and, like, angry towards Elizabeth and David if it didn't bother you somewhat. So clearly you do care what they think. All right, so after the drill, we go to the room, and Ink is basically pouting, and he's sitting on the couch, whatever, and I'm, like, trying to be nice to him. He's, like, pushing me away. I'm like, I always give you a hug, like, quit being like that. So I didn't even know he did this, but, like, I gave him a kiss, and I left, and I'm, like, giving him his space. I'm gonna go downstairs and get some more food, I guess, and he, like, wipes my kiss away. I'm like, what is your deal? Like, I think this drill really, really did get to him. I don't know, but of course it's going to turn out in just a minute. So next thing you know, we're in the kitchen and Ink walks downstairs. He's being really closed off. Sunday asks Ink, "What's wrong with you?" He says, "There's nothing wrong, da da da, F all of you, blah 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 blah, whatever else." Um, he was saying F all of you, like basically just casually. Like even earlier when you see the paddle scene and David and them take the paddle, he says, "Take this paddle before I hit you with it." And in the preview, it looks like he's saying it to be aggressive and that he's mad. And if you watch it, you would notice that he was saying it in a playful way to Elizabeth and David because Elizabeth kind of smiles and then like hits him on the back like this, like in a playful type way. So he wasn't really meaning like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit you with this paddle," blah blah blah. It was a joke, and it could really look like it goes either way. Okay, so Ink says that he's misunderstood, but then he says that Sarah understands me. And of course, later on, this makes no sense, and I'll tell you why. He accuses others of misjudging him, but I feel like he's been misjudging me this entire time because he stereotypes me as a woman and women can't be trusted. So, but then in a previous episode, you said that I could be trusted. And I believe even on this episode, you said I could be trusted. I just don't understand you. And yeah, like, so he says the problems, and then I tell him, a lot of our problems come from misunderstandings. And it was a couple episodes ago, I say, if you listen to me, you'll understand, and if you understand, we'll have less problems. So you're sitting there saying that nobody understands you and they're judging you, but I feel like you're judging me as well because I'm a woman, I can't be trusted. But then you say I can be trusted, and then we've been in arguments where he finally listens to me and everything is pretty much resolved. And I said, okay, well, if you listen, you'll understand. If you understand, we'll have less problems. So it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black. Like, you're judging me and you're not understanding me. So, I mean, I can't just understand everything about you and conform to you all the time. Like, that's not fair, and that's not what's going to happen. All right, so we're down at the campfire, and I'm all emotional. I'm reading my little thing, and Ink is being very closed off, and he's like, "Oh, I don't, oh, I feel bad that she's upset. Like, I want to give her a hug, but I really don't feel bad." And they're like, "Well, what have you done to hurt her that makes her feel bad?" And he does not want to do the drill. I don't know why he got so angry over this little situation. And of course, he storms up to the house. I'm kind of annoyed with it because I didn't get to see everybody else. I only got to see what you guys saw on TV, like the little pieces of them at the campfire. So I missed that entire thing. And I end up going to the house. Mama June makes a comment, "Oh, Sarah's usually running after him. There she goes, blah, blah, blah. She shouldn't be with him. He's an asshole to her." And I go up to the house. So keep in mind how he was vulnerable in this scene with David. I've seen him be like that quite a few times. So when we did the very first challenge on day one, where it was like the coffin scene, I said, "Well, I see your heart, I see whatever," because he doesn't say certain things to most people, but he's, broke down to me before and says how lonely he feels because, he's had multiple women in and out of his life and he doesn't care about them and they don't understand anything about him. And I'm like, well, if you open up to me, like, let me understand. Like, I'll be here for you. So I feel like I'm one of the very few, if not the only women that made him not feel lonely. Because, I mean, it sounds crazy, but having all this attention from females, males, whatever, that's Cal calling me too. He's going to have to wait. Um, it's weird because when it's not by somebody that you really want it to be from, it makes you feel more lonely than you even are, even though you may have 10 people blowing up your phone. So I understand where he's coming from. All right, so yeah, I missed the drill and I walked up to the house to check on Ink. And I mean, I felt really, really bad that he was crying and upset. He doesn't cry very often. I've maybe seen him cry 5 or so, maybe a couple more times than that. So, it hurt me to watch him cry, and I am woman enough to admit it. Like, that hurts me. I don't want to see him upset. All right, so David says, and it was like sad too because when I walk in, Dave was like, "Do you want me to have her leave for a minute?" And he's like, he looks so sad. I just want to give him a big hug. Like, even watching it made me want to give him a big hug. All right, so he says, "Sarah understands you, but I don't care how much she understands you. A woman wants your heart." And then he says to me, Ink says to me that he wants me to understand him, that he loves me, he wants to have a child with me, but he doesn't know. And I think that part was saying he doesn't know, like, right now, like, is not the time, whatever. And, which I completely agree. I'm not ready to have a child anyways. Like, I say within the next few years, I'm not where I want to be before I have a child. People say, oh, well, nobody's ever ready. It's never a perfect time. And I do believe that there's a perfect time. There's a time when it's right between the two people, where you have time to do it. Like, because that's like a huge deal. I've never had children before. I'm 30 years old, and I do want the timing to be right, which it will be. So, all right. He says, okay. I say I need, and then David says, well, Sarah, what do you need? I said, I need to have trust. I need him to trust me. I need him to talk to me, and I need to understand me as well. And of course, he says again that he does trust me, but it's been back and forth. I don't trust you. I don't trust women. Oh, I trust you. You're trustworthy. I don't trust you. And now, once again, he's saying that he trusts me. So I'm so confused about the whole trust, non-trust thing. All right. And hold hands. And oh, so then I kind of break down and I tell him, like, because I was holding his hand in the scene like this, and I was like, I want you to hold my hand everywhere, not just one place, because before in the past, I've noticed, and this is when him and I weren't so close, that when we go to the barbershop or something and it's in front of a bunch of guys, he will hold my hand, and like he will actually walk in front and go to grab my hand, so he'll initiate the hand holding and want to parade me around the barbershop so everybody looks at me and they're like, dang, your girl's fine, whatever else. And he's also done that at like a nightclub before, where he wants to like hold my hand so everybody looks like, oh yeah, she's with me. But then when it's certain situations like where there's a lot of females around or his friends and stuff, he won't want to hold my hand. He'll want to like have his own space and whatever else. And I'm like, no, you need to be consistent. If you want to hold my hand and parade me around all these men, you need to hold my hand when we're around women as well. It's not like one-sided, and I don't like the inconsistency whatsoever. And basically, he says he wants me to see from his point of view. Okay, first off, it's a two-way street. I'm not a man, I'm not you. I can try to understand where you're coming from, but you need to understand where I'm coming from as well, because it's not going to be one-sided. Next thing you know, it's at the fire, and we see the scene where Sunday's saying that, she was young when she got married. She got married for all the wrong reasons, and I didn't get to see all this, so I don't really know what the reasons were. Based on what I saw in the house, I think she may have married him just for the idea of getting married, and because she knew that Cedric was a provider. You can tell that he's a very stable man. He's always going to take care of you, and he's more like a dad figure. He's always going to make sure you're good. So I believe that's probably why she did marry him. And if you guys look at pictures from Cedric a long time ago, and Sunday did mention it in the house, but I saw one on Cedric's Instagram, like he was like in really good shape. He had like abs, a big chest, and everything. I know he's working out now, so I'm happy for him that he's getting back in the gym and getting in shape. So that's good news. All right, it's the very end, and Judge Toller says that Sunday looks prettier than ever. And I noticed that about Sunday in the house too. Like after she started to like actually be vulnerable and be herself, which I really, really liked. Sunday and I at this point had became really, really close. You can see like she's glowing, like she just looks prettier. And her makeup's been the same, but it's just the way she's sitting, it's the way she looks. It's like there's something like bright about her skin, and it does. It looks like a huge weight was lifted off of her shoulders. So I noticed too that Sunday was much prettier. All right. At this point, Judge Thor saying there's 2 more days. She tells Ink, I don't care what she said. You say I don't care what they say about me, but obviously you do care. You say it, but you don't mean it. So you need to get to the point where you mean it. And I completely agree with her. He says all the right words. He's a very smart guy, but he is not very good at applying what he knows or what he can tell other people to do or what he has learned. And he told me he wasn't going to watch this episode. I really hope that he does. He said he doesn't want to watch the rest of the episodes, and I think it's because he may be embarrassed for breaking down or whatever else. I'm not sure what it is. But I would like him to watch it so he can see and remember what he learned, because it's like, look, there was like a little scene where you see him in the confessional and you see him at the end of talking to me, and he says, I want to let my walls down. I want to trust people and, not be fearful and stuff like that. I can't remember the exact words, but he needs to watch it, remember what he learned, and apply what he learned. Because there's no point of learning anything if you're not going to use it. All right. So Judge Toller says there's 2 more days, and At this point, we are all completely emotionally drained. I'm so tired. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of arguing. I'm just completely emotionally drained. And of course, at the campfire, ink had really hurt my feelings. And then, of course, hearing other people argue back and forth, which we didn't hear Sean and Catherine argue. We just heard Vincent and Althea a lot. Hearing people argue a lot also, like, mentally, like, drains you as well. So, but this next episode, can't talk. This next episode is going to be pretty good. And on that note, I need to call Cal back because I got to get ready for his birthday. But so, what do you guys think about? For one, did you guys notice that Sunday did look prettier? And then two, what do you think about Ink and him finally kind of opening up? And you kind of see a little bit why I'm forgiving with him and so patient with him, because he has been vulnerable like that to me quite a few times, and I know that he's coming from a good place. So that's the only reason that I put up with so much bullshit, I would say. So you finally get to see him be a little bit sweet, but I don't think in any way is that justifiable of his actions or how he talks or treats other people. But what do you think about the whole Ink situation and being finally opening up, and also about how he's so opinionated about people but he doesn't want to take advice from others? So I would like to see your comments, and I will see you guys next week.